situations that brought us together and showed us that we were a team that needed to work together.
That's fantastic. And those are not talents that you find often. How often do you walk into a bookstore to find a tea leaf reader?
3 times.
Exactly. I mean, that happened to be at the bookstore that I was meeting the girl at that was going to be doing card readings for us. I mean, what are the odds of that?
Right.
It's kind of what happened to us that we just talked about last week. And it's kind of the universe giving you signs that you're supposed to be doing what you're doing. And we often say around here that we don't know where we're going, but somehow that next step shows itself whenever we're ready for it.
Right.
Exactly. I'll give you another example of ironic and miraculous things that happen, okay? Now, I don't know if you know this, okay, but the number 3, the number 33, and the number 333 are actually associated with Michael the Archangel. I know you guys were just talking about the Epiphany and Catholicism and everything, so I thought I could throw this in there, okay? 3 days before we opened, we were going like crazy trying to get everything prepared, and then we realized, oh, my God, we're going to be opening with a psychic fair, and we don't have any folding chairs. Okay, so 3 days before we open, my wife gets on the computer and goes on Craigslist, and she finds, out of the blue, down in Ann Arbor, this guy that has metal folding chairs for sale at $3 a piece. 3 days before we were about to open. Now, at the time, I had this little Chevy Aveo. You know what they look like?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, it's not like a sardine can, okay? But we went down to Ann Arbor, and we were actually able, I kid you not, to fit 33 of these folding chairs with me and my wife in the Aveo. Somehow we were able to fit 33
that's really weird.
Okay, so 33 chairs, 3 days before we opened at $3 a piece. Now, you can't tell me that that's not divine intervention.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, that is really something.
Ann Arbor is at like 333
33
miles round trip.
Right, yeah.
That would just top it off.
It would, yes. So those are all really good things. And I've had the opportunity to meet you, and Sandy's here too that you met.
We met at a house party. Do you remember?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, I must be unforgettable, huh?
For many reasons. For many reasons that we won't even go into right now. So,
I feel like I'm going to break out into Nat King Cole songs.
For sentimental reasons?
Right. Yeah.
So, you heard our theme for tonight is what's going to happen this year? And being a psychic, I'm sure that you can't give us events and stuff, but is the universe sending you any kind of messages that we should know about that you'd want to share?
Well, as an intuitive clairvoyant, I also use various tools. Okay, one of the tools that I use is numerology. Now, if you take the year 2016 and you add up every single digit, 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 6, you get the compound number, which is number 9.
Which is 3
now,
squared.
Now, that means that 2016 is a universal number 9 year. Now, traditionally, during number 9 years, there's usually some type of change or ending of a cycle, okay? So, in my interpretation, I'm going to have to say that there's going to be some very, very significant transitions this year in 2016 on a global level. I mean, we've already seen a prelude to that with a lot of the events that led up to some of the tragedies that we experienced last year. But I don't think it's necessarily going to be as dismal as what a lot of people might assume it to be. A lot of people that are avid numerologists look at a number 9 year with sort of an element of dread. Now, I tend to look at it with a little bit more optimism. I personally think that a lot of the old philosophies that we've held on to for a very long time are going to be dying. I think that there's a new sense of enlightenment on the horizon, and I don't want to be too light and fluffy here and everything, okay? Nothing comes without ramifications, but I do tend to believe that there's going to be a new door opening to a universal thought pattern that we might not be consciously aware of quite yet. And that would be my rendition of what it is that I see forthcoming as a general summary.
I like those things. And, sometimes good things have to bad things have to happen to make good things happen.
Exactly. You have to have a breaking down process.
Right. As we know it. Mm-hmm. Like it's that old adage, when one door closes, another opens. It's kind of the same thing. And
absolutely.
Sometimes the universe sees where we're going wrong as a humanity and corrects it. Look, there was a flood.
Mm-hmm.
There was what happened to that the woman that turned around and turned into a pillar of salt.
Yeah.
Sodom and Gomorrah. That was a volcanic eruption, and so that the Earth universe kind of corrects itself every now and then.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. And one of the areas that I've been able to make a determination on is art, music, entertainment, and even science. Okay, all of those somehow intertwined. We're going to see some kind of a chapter coming to a close, but yet a new one opening.
Interesting.
You make me look forward to the year. I'm very interested in what's going on now. I'm more happy.
Do you think that as a whole, people are becoming more not religious but spiritual? Do you see that happening?
Absolutely. I have been absolutely thrilled at how many people have welcomed us, on how many people are exhibiting far more open-mindedness now about what we do than probably would have ever been the case in the past. You see, I have to admit, when I first embarked upon my journey of being a spiritual advisor, my wish was to actually have a facility like the one I have now. Now, situations never panned out and never opened the door for that to be a reality until now. And I really believe that it took the circumstances unfolding the way they did for this to happen in the manner that it is. I don't think that prior to when it happened that it would have been able to sustain itself the way it has beyond this point in time. And ironically, our date of being founded was in 2012. And we all know about how everyone raved about the changing of human consciousness due to the ending of the Mayan calendar and what that meant. Okay?
Oh, that's
so
right.
I look at it as very ironic that we were born when the Mayan calendar ended.
That's very interesting. And my book got published in October of 2012. 2012 was a pretty big
very
year.
ominous
Yes,
year. Yep.
Yes. That's cool. So can you kind of see what's in the future of W4 Divas or anything like that? Just from any information we could give you?
Meatloaf. No,
a meatloaf is in our future. I think you're right.
Well, I actually feel very good with it. I think that what you're doing has some very, very spiritual overtones, and it's something that people are looking for. I sense that there is going to be possibly even more of an opportunity to expand further than what you have already. And I would believe that would be coming up within the next 18 months. I see something to do with a male, perhaps with salt and pepper colored hair that has some type of intricate purpose in helping to promote you. I can foreshadow that there's going to be a lot of interesting prospects for guests and such. I do also kind of feel that you might want to be kind of selective, because I think that you're going to have an influx of new possibilities as far as having people on your show, especially during the springtime.
Sounds really neat. Having a guest selection, and all you have to do is just pick which one you need to do. It sounds like we're going to be very overwhelmed with guests.
What a problem
it's
to
gonna
have.
Be concentrated into a shorter period of time, it feels like. There'll be a big concentration of guests all at one time. There's a little bit of an element of feast or famine with that, but not a major issue.
That's very interesting. I like that. And I can see in your future that you will be a guest again.
Excellent. I look forward to that.
We do too. Yeah.
So, some people know that they're psychic, and some people get those little twinges of things that they think are going to happen, and sometimes it scares them. If you were talking to somebody and they said that they got those and they were afraid, how would you help them through that? How would you encourage them to accept, if not embrace, that part of them?
Well, I would use the analogy of getting a weather forecast. And I use this all the time when I try to help explain people to better understand what a psychic reading is, or an intuition, or a hunch. It's like listening to the weather forecast. You're getting a heads up from an oracle. You're getting a heads up as what potential conditions lie ahead, but you're not necessarily getting the result that's created by how it is that you choose to deal with those conditions. If you're planning a trip to the Bahamas and all you can think about for an entire year is this trip to the Bahamas, and you're thinking about the way it's going to be, you're going to be, on the white sand beach, you're going to have a little drink with the umbrella in it, and everything's going to work out wonderfully. You see yourself sitting on a sandbar, so on and so forth. You're going to have your mind and ideals geared towards the way it is that you perceive this situation to unfold. Now, let's say you've been idealizing this trip all year long, so you have this image in your mind of the way it is that you think it should or would turn out. And then a couple of days before you leave to get on your plane, the weatherman says that a Category 5 hurricane is about to hit the Bahamas. Now, isn't it much better to forecast rather than to face inevitable disaster when you get there?
Yeah.
That's why there's no such thing as a bad reading. That's why there's no such thing as something that you should be afraid of when you're being given insight by divine forces. The insight's being given to you so that you can make better choices with much more clarity and a sense of enlightenment to what it is that's forthcoming.
Mm-hmm. Very good. I'm going to give you an example of something real quick. And then we're going to talk about your location again, okay? And I think you have an event coming up also. I was supposed to go to Ohio for Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't end up that I went because that's where my family is. It ended up that I didn't go. And at first I was really sad about it because I really wanted to go. But then I thought about it. Maybe the universe was trying to protect me. Maybe I would have been in a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to look at everything like that anymore because why get upset about it? Just like when we were trying to start W4 Divas. Oh, man, I wanted it so bad. I was just like you with that building. I wanted it, and I was pushing it and pushing it. And finally, I just sat back because it wasn't happening. And sure enough, in its own time, it came about. And that's something that we have to learn. That's a hard lesson to learn, isn't it?
It most certainly is. And that's usually why people will wind up disappointed with their reading. Usually they'll come in with stars in their eyes, hoping that what I'm going to tell them is everything it is that they're anticipating hearing, turning out exactly the way they want to. And what they don't tend to value is the information that they didn't want to hear. Because ultimately, I mean, if you have someone telling you all the wonderful aspects of your personality, that really doesn't help you to grow. But if you have information delivered to you that's helping you to better understand your fallacies and your shortcomings, then you have something to work with.
Right. That's a good point. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And something that you told me when we met was to not make myself so available. And I was running here for this event, there for that event, and doing it for free.
Right.
Every place. And you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. Thank you. That was really good advice. And you had no idea even really what I did you, at that point?
Not on a conscious level, no.
Yeah. So thank you.